David Sharp was an English mountaineer and Cho Oyu summiter who died near the summit of Mount Everest. His death caused controversy and debate, because he was passed by a number of other climbers heading to and returning from the summit during his own solo attempt with no support or team. Background: climbing solo without oxygen, Sharp had made an attempt to reach the summit during the late afternoon and, presumably having reached it, had descended during one of the coldest nights of the year. Sharp made no provisions for Sherpa or guide support for his summit bid. He also carried no radio with which to contact the Asian Trekking Company, primarily because Asian Trekking lacked the capacity to effect any rescue operation. The following week 3 other climbers from Asian Trekking also died during summit attempts: Vitnagreet, Igor Flyushkin, and Thomas Weber. 2 Asian Trekking Sherpas also died earlier in the season in the Khumbu icefall. Green Boots Cave, a witness, New Zealand double amputee climber Mark Ingalls, revealed in an interview on May 23, 2006 that he assumed that Sharp had died, and that Sharp had been passed by 40 other climbers heading for the summit who made no attempt at a rescue. Sharp died under a rock overhang known as Green Boots Cave, sitting with arms clasped around his legs, next to and to the right of a green-booted body, who is commonly believed to be Indian climber Tsvang Palj, who died 10 years earlier in the same place in 1996, under similar circumstances, and whose body remained on the mountain as a macabre landmark. The overhang is located alongside the main climbing trail approximately 450 m below the summit and 250 m above Camp 4. However, the body of Palj has since vanished, presumably removed by Chinese mountaineers. Help! The Ingalls party passed Sharp during their ascent around 1 a.m. and noticed that he was still breathing, but due to the difficulty of mounting a nighttime rescue, continued towards the summit. Mark Wetu instructed him to follow the line of LED headlamps stretching back to Camp 4 before moving on. Most of the other ascending climbers passed Sharp without offering any substantial assistance. Everest guide Jamie McGuinness reported that on reaching David Sharp on the descent some 9 hours later, Doa from Arun Treks also gave oxygen to David and tried to help him move, repeatedly, for perhaps an hour. But he could not get David to stand alone or even stand resting on his shoulders. Doa had to leave him too. Even with 2 Sherpas, it was not going to be possible to get David down the tricky sections below base camp. Viewpoints: Ingalls said Sharp was ill-prepared, lacking proper gloves and oxygen, and was already doomed by the time of their ascent. I radioed, and Russ, expedition manager Russell Bryce said, "Mate, you can't do anything. He's been there X number of hours without oxygen. He's effectively dead." Trouble is, at 8,500 m it's extremely difficult to keep yourself alive, let alone keep anyone else alive. Statements by Ingalls suggest that he believed that Sharp was probably so close to death as to have been beyond help by the time the Ingalls party passed him. Bryce, however, denies the claim that any radio call was received about the stranded climber until he was notified some 9 hours later by the first ever Lebanese climber of Mount Everest, Maxime Chea, who had not seen Sharp in the darkness of the ascent. Sharp had no gloves and severe frostbite at this time. The lead climber of the Ingalls party said that his chief responsibility was to his team members and that not enough blame has been leveled at Sharp's own climbing team. Far greater efforts were made to assist the dying man on the way down than were given to him on the ascent. By contrast, only days later on May 26, Australian climber Lincoln Hall was found alive, having been declared dead the day before. He was found by a party of 4 climbers who, giving up their own summit attempt, stayed with Hall and descended with him and a party of 11 Sherpas sent up to carry him down. Hall later recovered fully. Criticism: Sir Edmund Hillary was highly critical of the decision not to try to rescue Sharp, saying that leaving other climbers to die is unacceptable, and the desire to get to the summit has become all important. He also said, "I think the whole attitude towards climbing Mount Everest has become rather horrifying. The people just want to get to the top. It was wrong if there was a man suffering altitude problems and was huddled under a rock, just to lift your hat, say good morning and pass on by." He also told the New Zealand Herald that he was horrified by the callous attitude of today's climbers. they don't give a damn for anybody else who may be in distress, and it doesn't impress me at all that they leave someone lying under a rock to die, and that, I think that their priority was to get to the top, and the welfare of a member of an expedition was very secondary. Hillary also called Mark Ingalls crazy. Linda Sharp, David's mother, however, does not blame other climbers. She has said to the Sunday Times, David had been noticed in a shelter. People had seen him but thought he was dead. One of Russell's, Bryce's, Sherpas checked on him and there was still life there. He tried to give him oxygen but it was too late. Your responsibility is to save yourself, or not to try to save anybody else. Dispute. Since these comments, however, more details have emerged. In July 2006, Ingalls retracted his claim that he was ordered to continue his ascent after informing Bryce of a climber in distress, blaming the extreme conditions at altitude for the uncertainty in his memory. The Discovery Channel documentary Everest, Beyond the Limit showed footage indicating that Sharp was only found by Ingalls' group on their descent. All Ingalls party members still confirm that they did discover him on the ascent, but they do not confirm that Bryce was contacted regarding Sharp during the ascent. By the time the Ingalls group reached him on the descent and contacted Bryce, they were low on oxygen and heavily fatigued with several cases of severe frostbite, making any rescue very difficult. In the documentary Dying for Everest, Mark Ingalls now states, "From my memory, I used the radio. I got a reply to move on and there is nothing that I can do to help. Now I'm not sure whether it was from Russell, Bryce or from someone else, or whether you know. It's just hypoxia and it's in your mind." Bryce received many radio messages that night and a full log was kept. There is no record of any call from Mark Ingalls. The group continued to the summit, passing David Sharp, without offering any assistance. Sharp was in a grave condition. On their descent, passing back through the cave several hours later, the group found Sharp near death. Sharp was reported to be wearing red boots, in contrast to the green boots-wearing corpse in the rock cave. Expeditions and/or summitings. While growing up in England, Sharp climbed the 1,000-foot Rosebery topping. When he went to college, he joined the Mountaineering Club, according to the United States newspaper USA Today. In May 2002, Mr. Sharp summited the 26,900-foot Cho Oyu with James McGuinness in three-panned boat. Rosebery topping, Matterhorn, Mount Elbrus, Kilimanjaro, Gasherbrum, Cho Oyu in 2002, Everest in 2003, did not summit, Everest in 2004, did not summit, Everest in 2006, thought to have summited May 14, 2006 but died on descent. Body entombed at Green Boots Cave. 2006 Everest timeline. In 2003 and 2004, Sharp made expeditions to Mount Everest, but did not summit. May 11, at Camp 1 on Mount Everest's North Kernel. May 14, Sharp makes a summit attempt and is estimated to have summited. May 15, seen in Green Boots Cave and suffering from hypoxia. May 16, at 8,500 meters David Sharp is recorded dying. That season, 11 others died on Everest and 1 on Lutz, including 8 on the North Side route. Legacy. The body of Sharp was later removed from the trail. References. See also, List of people who died climbing Mount Everest, List of Mount Everest expeditions. Lincoln Hall, climbed that year also but was successfully rescued. Further reading, Dr. Miranda Ira, could David Sharp have been saved? Definitelia includes a chronology of the incident. MountEverest.net, Everest 2006. My name is David Sharp and I am with Asian Trekking. of estnews.com. External links, picture of where David Sharp died, painting of David Sharp.